How long does the foreclosure process take in North Carolina? In this video, we're going to show you exactly what that's all about. What a great state. So many things happen in North Carolina, and my prayers and thoughts go out to all of you. At the time of this video was right after the hurricane hit there. I know you're going through a lot. Just understand we're with you. We support you. We'll do everything we can to make it happen. All right, let's talk about North Carolina. First of all, I don't care where you're at in the country. It doesn't matter. North Carolina, South Carolina, North Dakota, South Dakota, West Virginia, East Virginia, California, Texas. Okay, if you are currently behind on a mortgage, okay, the best thing you can do is contact the lender immediately. So if I have a property and I've lent money to buy that property, let's say I've sold it and I'm carrying the note. The last thing I want to hear is from the bank or the escrow going, hey, no payments have been made. Now I've got to scramble to figure out what's going on. I'd rather get a phone call back so we can start a process of renegotiating, redoing, whatever we need to do on that deal. Now, in North Carolina, I talked about the hurricane. If you have special circumstances like that, there are government programs that you can find that'll delay that until we get back on the feet, whatever the case is. So don't worry about that. This is just a traditional, I ain't making my payments, okay? First thing you have to do is that you can be late for 30 days, nothing's gonna happen. But once that 30-day mark hits, kind of the same all over the country. That's what kicks in what they call a notice of default, or an NOD. And what that says is, okay, now the process is kicked in. And understand, it's not like they want to do this. Okay, believe it or not, the county or the banks do not want to foreclose on the property. I don't want to foreclose on the property because this is the way it works. Okay, they are regulated. I'm not, they are. Okay, if somebody's default on that, nobody cares. Okay, I guess, if they don't pay me. But the banks are very sensitive. What I mean by that is, if the banks have a bunch of loans that are going into default at the same time, the government's going, whoa, because they know they might have to step in and bail out the banks like we saw happen in 08 and 09. So there's a lot of government information on this, and what they'll do is, you can look it up if you like. You can go online and find out how many loans, what percentage of Wells Fargo's loans are starting to become late, 60 or 30, 60, 90 days late. And so that's what they call a leading indicator. So that's an indicator of what's happening out there and what the future holds. Because here's the reality. If an NOD goes out, a notice of default, okay, that's 30 days late. What that does is it gives 3 months window, a grace period, if you will, of where the borrower and the lender can start talking about, maybe we need to modify this. Is there a different way we can approach it? How can we remedy this situation before it gets out of control? Let's say that they do. Let's say that the person had a bad accident. Whatever the situation was, they got the money up, they brought the loan up to date, and all that good stuff. The likelihood of it happening again in the next 6 months to a year are super high. I don't even know what the percentage is, but it's high. So that's what they call a leading indicator. So immediately you're going to go into a watch program, so to speak, and oh gosh, this doesn't happen, because it's probably going to happen again. It's just, again, I've got what they call predictable software out there that basically, just based on the subscriptions, what's happening in your personal life, you got a divorce, you got a death, you got a retirement, kids moving away to college, all those things are what I have in my predictable software that'll literally tell me whether somebody's going to be moving, foreclosure. I mean, we get a predictability on moving or selling, excuse me. I can tell with about a 17% accuracy if somebody's going to be selling within 90 days. It's just based on data, okay? I'm just telling you, this is the way everything's going. So based on all that information, I can tell. So if somebody's delinquent on their payments, I've also can say, oh, these properties are behind. The likelihood of these going into foreclosure has just escalated because of these conditions, and it's just playing the odds. It's just like Las Vegas. pulling numbers on a football based on who's injured, what their success rate is, what's going on. There's some pretty good predictability about what the point spread is going to be on that. So keep that in mind. But once that NOD goes out, they've got 90 days. If nothing happens from then the judicial process goes through and there's a foreclosure. Now, if the person's going to be foreclosed on there, I'm not going to pay. I can't. This is so tragic that I can't get out of this situation. There could be a deed in lieu of foreclosure. There could be a non-judicial foreclosure. There could be a number of things that you're going to do in North Carolina to make that happen. But at the end of the day, that process is probably going to take, let me look at this, probably going to take anywhere from a minimum on a good day about 4 months to about 8 months on the long side, somewhere in that area. Again, I want you to understand, if you're the borrower or if you're foreclosing on a property, you have to hit those deadlines. Okay, it's not because I want the property, I gotta make sure I do. If you don't, you're just delaying the thing dramatically. So the only way the courts will delay a foreclosure is if they're backlogged. They're not gonna sit there and go, yeah, I don't think we're gonna do this. Now, if the borrower is claiming that there's some fraud involved, that's a totally different situation. But that's super hard to prove and usually not the case. So there you go on that. Now listen, if you're going into a tax lien foreclosure and you're foreclosing on it, all of that stuff kind of goes out the window. They've already been delinquent for multiple times for multiple years. So all you're doing is backfilling, so to speak, the back end of that. So if I go in to a tax foreclosure in North Carolina, I'm basically saying this has already happened, this is where we're going, or I'm buying a deed because you got some duality going on in North Carolina. And now all I'm doing is clearing up the property. But I'm gonna warn you on this. If you're buying delinquent properties in North Carolina, make sure you do your research, okay? What I'm seeing out there is there's a lot of baby boomers that, well, they're dying. It doesn't matter how many vegetables we eat or how much stuff we it's happening. So and last indication, don't hold my feet to the fire. You can fact check it and put it in the comments. There's like 30 to 35 million properties a month being abandoned because the owners are deceased. The heirs don't care. The kids don't care. They don't know what to do with the property. And that's just going to accelerate. You've got houses with popcorn finished ceilings on the top that need to be scraped, 8-foot ceilings, hollow doors. I watched a meme on YouTube the other day that showed a real estate agent showing a house in the 1980s and bragging about the 2-ply carpet. And it was crazy. Some of the things that we used to think were fashionable. And so what I'm seeing is there's a lot of properties coming onto the market. My cautionary note is make sure it's the property that you want. So determine your bid accordingly. Again, know your numbers. When I go into a property, I have a pretty darn good indication of how much it's going to cost me to just get up to a wholesale, a retail, or a rentable condition. Those are my 3 things that I want to look at. Do I want to rent this property, wholesale this property, or sell it on a retail basis? Any one of those is going to be a favorable situation. But the way I'm doing it is going, look, I'm buying this property for X. It's going to cost me Y to fix it up, and the market is W. If I've got profit in that, the property is going to basically tell me what to do with it. So what you've got in North Carolina is you've got anywhere from a 4 to 8 month foreclosure on it. If you're doing a tax lien or deed sale foreclosure on it, not going to take that long, about 3 to 4 months on it. But know your numbers. Know how long it's going to take, how much it's going to take to foreclose and fix up the property, and what would be my exit strategy. Should I pick any one of those 3, be it wholesale, rental, or retail, or I should say a 4th Airbnb, depending on location in North Carolina. All of these are great options if the numbers work. Now, there's a ton of information out there that I can help you with, not in this video. I've got a really cool little deal for watching to the end. Just click on the link down below, higginsmethod.com. I've got a brand new course for free. Price is right, okay? Just click on that. I'll send you that course on how to make all this happen for you and your family. This is Saen Higgins saying God bless, good luck, and we'll see you out there.